It's weird how fast something routine can become ritual. The hiss of steamed milk, the beep of mobile orders, the same seasonal playlist on repeat. I used to work mornings at the Starbucks inside Target store Dagrulan 73, back before everything went sideways. Now I stick to nights when it's slower, quieter, and harder to think about all the things I've lost. My name's Cassie Wu. I'm 24. And I started this job 6 months after my twin brother, Evan, was killed by a drunk driver 2 blocks from this very store. His car got T-boned in the intersection where the turning lane never got fixed, right where the Target sign blinks half dead above the parking lot. He used to come visit me here, sit on a stool, laptop open, sipping his caramel macchiato like it was a ritual too. After the funeral, I couldn't go back to my old job. Couldn't deal with people who didn't know what happened. I needed something brainless, something corporate, something with rules. Target had rules. It also had Mike. He transferred from a store upstate a month after I started. Tall, polite, with that sort of harmless charm that makes you drop your guard without even realizing. He picked up the worst shifts without complaint, helped mop when the closers didn't show, always asked how I was holding up. At first I was grateful. He even remembered Evan's favorite drink, venti caramel macchiato, extra whip, and made. One for me on the anniversary without saying a word. I didn't tell him that was the last thing Evan ordered before he died. I don't know how he knew. Then one night I caught the scent of Evan's cologne, earthy with some kind of citrus sharpness, coming off Mike's hoodie. I froze. He smiled, said he found a nearly full bottle in the lost and found. Didn't want it to go to waste, he added. That was the first red flag. But not the last. It started with little things. Mike began clocking out when I did, even on nights when his shift ended earlier. Said it made sense to walk to the lot together, safety in numbers, all that. I didn't argue. Not at first. The lot's sketchy after dark, and a girl did get her purse snatched by the old Sears last fall. Then he started showing up with clearance rack gifts. A knit beanie in my favorite color, a mug with the wrong zodiac sign but a sweet note inside. Just felt like you'd need this today. It felt like a big gesture disguised as something casual. The weirdest part, he knew where I lived. One night that he used to DoorDash near my apartment complex. Recognize the teal balcony chairs, he said. I laughed nervously and changed the subject, but my stomach dropped. I never told him about those chairs. Evan picked them out when we moved in. Come November, he was on every shift with me. Every single one. He said scheduling was random, but I checked. We used the same break app. I knew he was picking around me and the way he stood behind me at the espresso machine. Too close. Always correcting me on ratios or milk froth like he was the shift lead, which he wasn't. He wasn't even barista certified. That's why he only worked nights. One Thursday, I found a note taped to the inside of the milk fridge. Just above the oat milk I always grabbed first. His handwriting. You look tired. Let me take care of you. I threw it out. Pretended it wasn't creepy. But I started keeping my phone in my apron pocket after that. Started walking faster to my car. Started telling friends when I was on shift, just in case. This wasn't a meet cute anymore. It was a slow spiral, and it was accelerating. Thanksgiving Eve was chaos. We ran out of peppermint syrup by 9 p.m., and half the store looked like a war zone. Abandoned carts, crying toddlers, cranky dads with tangled lights, and zero patience. I kept my head down, working the bar solo after my closer bailed. Mike, of course, stayed late. Said he was helping out the floor team, but I saw him hovering near seasonal. He wasn't zoning. He was watching me. I tried to shake it off. Poured another round of mochas. Took a breath. Then a second. The peppermint smell wouldn't leave the air. Thick and cloying. Almost artificial. Too strong even for holiday rush. It followed me into the back when I went to restock syrups. That's where it happened. The stockroom was half Starbucks inventory, half forgotten seasonal junk. Reindeer lawn signs, fake snow, and broken end caps. I was kneeling by the flavored syrups when I heard the door click shut behind me. Then I felt it. His presence. That thing where your skin knows before your brain does. He didn't speak right away. Just stood there between the cardboard towers and the emergency exit that never opened from the inside. I turned slowly. His eyes were glazed like he was rehearsing something. His breath fogged the cold air. I smelled it then. Peppermint. The same mocha I'd been drinking all week. The one Evan used to like around Christmas. "We're perfect for each other," Mike whispered, and stepped closer. I felt his breath on my neck. I didn't wait. I kneed him hard, straight between the legs. He dropped. The scream that tore out of him echoed through the rafters. It must have hit a motion sensor, because 5 seconds later, the security alarms and electronics started. Wailing. I didn't stop to check if he was getting up. I ran. They called it an incident report. Target HR sat me down in the tiny back office the next day. Beige walls. No windows. A manager I'd never met read questions off a laminated sheet. "Did you provoke the situation? Was there a prior relationship? Are you willing to transfer locations to ensure safety?" I asked why I had to be the one to move. The manager smiled tightly. "Well, Mike claims it was consensual. There were no cameras in the stockroom, no witnesses, no proof except a sticky note I'd thrown away and a feeling in my gut that wouldn't hold up in court. The cops took my statement, nodded a lot, and told me, without physical evidence, our hands are tied." Mike didn't even get fired. He got transferred. They sent him 2 towns over to store number 1285, like he was a misplaced end cap they didn't know what to do with. I kept working the rest of the holiday season because rent doesn't wait for justice. But I stopped drinking peppermint mochas. I stopped using the back hallway to the break room. I stopped trusting anyone who said, "Hey, you okay?" in a tone that didn't sound like they meant it. Then one night, I just quit, dropped my apron in the utility sink, walked out without telling a soul. That Target store still stands somewhere between a dead Sears and a mall that hasn't updated its food court since 2003. The Starbucks is still there too, barely functioning, stocked by people like me who didn't have many options. Let them keep it. Let them keep the peppermint and the red cups and the HR scripts. I was done. I make coffee at the Tarbucks across town now. It's not technically a Starbucks, but it's close enough for people not to notice the difference. We wear black aprons, we steam milk, we smile through the rush. It's safer, smaller. The kind of place where the barista knows your name, not your trauma. I still make caramel macchiatos sometimes, but now I use 2% milk instead of whole. Evan used to complain about the calories even though he'd drink 2 a day without blinking. And when the stockroom door creaks open, I don't jump anymore. I know who's on shift. I know where the cameras are. I know that if someone puts their hands on me without permission, I won't be the one forced to switch stores. It took months to feel normal again, even longer to believe that normal could be mine. But now, on my 10-minute breaks, I sit outside on the curb by the loading dock, alone, in the cold. I sip my drink, scroll my phone, let my mind wander. And for once, I don't look over my shoulder. I just breathe. Because healing doesn't look like justice. Sometimes it looks like getting to finish your damn coffee in peace. I didn't expect my life to stall at 22, but here I am, working closing shifts at Target in a mostly dead strip mall off Cedar Ave, while trying to stay ahead of medical debt I shouldn't have in the first place. The car accident happened 3 months ago. A delivery driver ran a red light. I woke up in the ER with a broken wrist, 2 cracked ribs, and no health insurance. The settlement's tied up in court, so until then it's me, my employee discount, and a rotating diet of clearance microwave meals and instant ramen. I usually take the 4 to midnight shift. Fewer customers, less smiling, mostly just zoning, end caps and folding sweaters. The store's massive, but it gets weirdly quiet after 10, like the walls breathe differently. A lot of the strip mall is abandoned now. There's a boarded-up Toys R Us across the parking lot with graffiti that says "Still Here" in blue spray paint. Every time I look at it, I get this pressure in my chest like it's waiting for something. November 15th was the first snowstorm of the season. Heavy flakes, sticky wind, the kind of cold that seeps through your jacket and makes your fingers stop working. I clocked in early to get out of the weather. Only 3 of us were scheduled, but by 10:30 the others had already left. I stayed late. Had to. Rent's due and I needed groceries. Might as well work while I shop. At 11:53 I was cleaning up the Halloween clearance aisle. One last chore before grabbing eggs and heading home. The intercom crackled overhead. Team member needed in sporting goods. But I was alone on the floor, and my name was never called. Just team member. At first I thought it was a misfire, some leftover scheduled message or glitch. It happens. Sometimes the system replays old intercoms if no one's cleared them. Still, the timing felt off. The air was too still. I grabbed my walkie. "Hey, anyone? Still on site?" I asked. Nothing. Just static. I moved past the Christmas section where the displays were already half assembled. Motion-activated reindeer jerked to life as I passed, lights flickering like faulty nerves. The fake snow crunched under my boots. I turned the corner onto aisle D21 and stopped. There was someone standing there. A man in a red Target shirt crouched near the camping knives. His back was to me. No name tag. No lanyard. His shoulders jerked, in this twitchy rhythm like he was laughing or crying. It was hard to tell. His hands were at his sides, balled into fists. "Hey," I said, hesitant. "You need help?" He didn't respond. Just kept muttering something low and fast, something about inventory numbers not matching. And the red goes deeper. When he turned, my throat closed. It was him. Same exact face from the missing person poster taped to the break room fridge. Same sunken cheeks. Same tired eyes. I'd stared at that poster enough times while nuking frozen burritos on my dinner break. Name, Colin Reyes, age 24. Disappeared in 2003 from this exact target. He stared through me, pupils blown wide, like he was seeing something behind me. Then he smiled. A stretched, unnatural grin. That's when the lights flickered. Every third ceiling panel buzzed out for half a second. Long enough for him to vanish. I blinked. The aisle was empty again, only the camping knife display gently spinning. One knife missing from its hook. I tried calling again. Security, the front, anyone. Nothing. Even the emergency override button on my walkie just let out a long, dead whine. The building felt colder now, like the HVAC had switched to some deep freezer setting. My breath came out in sharp clouds. I turned to head toward electronics and regroup when I heard footsteps echo behind me. I spun. No one. I walked faster, cutting across home goods toward market. That's when I saw him again. He was standing by, the bananas in produce. No sound. No movement. Just there. I froze. He lifted his hand slowly, one finger to his lips. "Shh," he whispered. Corporates watching. He wore a badge now, one of the old ones from years ago. The plastic shimmered like an oil slick flashing between Day Shift 2003 and Target Security, like it couldn't make up its mind. I bolted, tried the fire exit by grocery, chain shut from the outside. I rattled it hard, but it didn't budge. I sprinted toward receiving. The dock door controls were off. Power cut. It didn't make sense. These systems were independent, battery-backed. We had safety protocols. I was halfway through the stockroom when he appeared again, just a blur in the convex mirror above the aisle. Always in front of me, always just around the next turn. I could hear him breathing through the PA speakers now. Raspy, wet breaths, like a broken respirator. Then came the voice again, low and even. Team member needed in sporting goods. I grabbed a fire extinguisher from the safety cabinet and didn't think twice. Ran back to the front doors and hurled it through the glass. The first hit didn't break it. The second one did. An alarm screamed into the snowstorm outside. Red lights strobing across empty aisles. Cold air blasted in like a vacuum. I jumped through the shattered opening, boots skidding across salt and slush. And the weirdest part, the yow. Parking lot cameras didn't move. I know because I've seen them rotate before, but now, they stayed still. pointed in the wrong direction. Dead-eyed, I ran for my car. Behind me, I swear I heard the door slide open again. Soft, mechanical, like a whisper. Police arrived 10 minutes later. I was still sitting in my Civic, hands shaking, windows fogged. One of the cruisers circled twice before parking. The officer approached slowly, hand near his holster. I tried to explain what happened, about the man, the glitching badge, the voice. They listened, but I could tell they didn't believe me. Then the second cruiser's radio crackled. All units disregard 4200 Cedar Ave, false alarm. I watched the officer's face. Confused, then blank. Guess someone tripped the wrong switch, he said. I looked up at the store. It was dark again. Doors sealed. Silent. They never even went inside. I got written up for damaging company property. HR said there was no call scheduled over the intercom. No system malfunctions. No open tickets. The store's internal camera footage showed me talking to empty aisles. They even emailed me a still frame, me pointing at a blank space where I swear Colin had stood. No record of any employee named Colin Reyes ever working there. Even the missing poster vanished from the break room fridge like it had never existed. I asked around. No one remembered him. I kept working for another week until the nightmares started. Always the same. I'm stuck inside the store after closing. The lights flicker. The voice calls again. My name now, not just team member. I run, but the aisles change, loop, fold in on themselves. He's always waiting. In produce, in toys, in seasonal, watching. Now I work day shifts at a library, safer, quieter. But last week I went to switch laundry in my building's basement, and there he was. Not him, but the shirt, crisp red, folded perfectly on top of the dryer. No name tag, but stitched into the inside of the sleeve. My apartment number. Now every time the automatic doors at the grocery store open, I freeze, just for a second, because I keep hearing it. That same soft scanner beep, and I think, maybe I never really clocked out. People always say, at least you have a job. Like that's some kind of comfort when your feet swell and your eyelids twitch from too many doubles in a row. My name's Alex Rivera. I'm 21, and for the last 8 months, I've been working overnight stocking at Target Superstore T14228 in Phoenix. I used to think I was going to community college, study graphic design. That changed when Mom's lungs gave out and the bills started showing up in red envelopes. So now, I work 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. 6 nights a week, pushing pallets through cold fluorescent aisles that never sleep. It's a 24-hour store in a half-dead mall with only one working streetlight in the lot. Flickers so much I think it's coded in Morse. The night this happened, July 12th, 2023, it was 115 degrees. At night, the kind of dry, suffocating heat that clings to your uniform like a second skin. I'd just finished restocking storage bins in home when my walkie crackled, sharp enough to make me flinch. Alex Rivera to Channel 4. Repeat, Alex Rivera to Channel 4. I stood still, hand halfway, to my water bottle. 3 things were wrong. First, managers were the only ones who used last names. Second, Channel 4 had been locked since last summer's incident, the one no one talks about out loud. Third, the voice. It sounded exactly like Mark, our day manager, the one who froze to death in our walk-in freezer last December. At first, I thought maybe someone was screwing with me. But there were only 2 people on shift that night, me and Jen in receiving. And I knew for a fact she never used the walkie. Said it gave her migraines. I picked mine up anyway. This is Alex on 1. Identify. Nothing but static. Then, we see you in aisle H12. Switch to 4 or we'll come to you. Seasonal, aisle H12, was supposed to be closed. They'd ripped up half the floor tiles and the shelves were still empty, waiting for Halloween merch. No cameras were working there. I knew because I'd been using that section to sneak breaks when the stockroom got too loud. I stared down the aisle. Empty. Silent. The music system, which had been quietly pushing Christmas in July through ceiling speakers, cut out mid-jingle. The silence that followed felt manufactured. Too clean. Then, from somewhere in appliances, a freezer door slammed. Hard. I turned, half expecting to see one of the night maintenance guys. But nobody was there. "Alex to base," I said. "Jen, you copy?" Nothing. Then the walkie flared again, only this time overlapping voices. Static layered with whispering like too many mouths trying to speak through one throat. "Alex, Channel 4. We miss you, Mark misses you." I almost dropped the damn thing. And then the PA system crackled to life, monotone and robotic. "Security alert. All team members to the back room immediately." There were no other team members scheduled tonight, just me. And Jen, who worked in receiving and never left the stock room unless the fire alarm went off. I started walking, slow, cautious. My boots squeaked louder than I expected on the polished floor. Every end cap display looked off, like the mannequins had turned slightly when I wasn't looking. I passed the manager's office. The lights inside were on. That's not right. They shut off automatically at midnight. My reflection in the glass stared back at me. For a second, it didn't move when I did. I turned and walked faster. Past electronics. That's when I saw them. Every demo TV flashed the same camera feed. The loading dock, and standing there, lit by the red glow of the exit sign, was someone in a red Target polo, holding a walkie, facing the camera. It was me. Not someone who looked like me. Me. Same short curls. Same red hoodie tied around the waist. Same barcode tattoo I got on a dare when I was 19, visible just under the sleeve. He held a walkie like he owned it, and on every screen, dozens of them, he mouthed the same words. Too late. The walkie in my hand vibrated, then switched channels on its own. I watched it jump from 1 to 4, the tiny red LED clicking into place like a weapon being cocked. "Channel 4 active," a mechanical voice said from the speaker. I bolted, ran through kitchenware, past domestics. 11 aisles to the emergency exit near grocery. Chained shut from the inside. I checked the hardware. Not Target's chain. Something older. Rusted. I turned to double back toward receiving. Maybe Jen was still here. Maybe this was a really elaborate prank and she was filming the whole thing. Then I heard the whispering again. This time from the shelf speakers overhead. Only one word, repeated. Stay. All the lights dimmed, except for the path back toward seasonal. The one place with no working cameras, no working anything. I had two choices now. Run and hope I wasn't the only person seeing this. Or go back to where the voice started. Channel 4. H12I walked back the way I came, my walkie hissing and spitting static. Somewhere behind me, TVs turned off one by one. And in every reflection, the version of me in the glass started to lag behind. The heat dropped 20 degrees when I stepped into aisle H12. Phoenix never feels cold at night, even in winter. But here my breath fogged the air. The shelves were still bare. But at the far end of the aisle, a figure crouched near the floor. Red polo, black pants, head tilted just enough that I couldn't see the face. "Mark?" I asked, even though I knew it wasn't him. The figure stood up in one smooth, jerky motion, like a marionette on the wrong strings. It was Mark. Sort of. His face was too pale, lips a shade too blue. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Just a breath, white and cold, that rolled down the aisle toward me. Then my own voice came. Through the walkie again. Back room. Now. I ran. Didn't look back. Didn't think. I hit the break room doors hard enough to bruise my shoulder. Inside, it was lit like always. Clean tables, the vending machine humming like it had no clue what was happening. And taped to the fridge was a name tag, a Riverasami style as the ones used back in 2008. Edges cracked, laminate bubbling. I turned around. Mark was gone. But in the corner of the break room was a locker I'd never seen before. My name was on it. Inside, a fresh red shirt, still folded. They found my phone in the break room the next morning. Logged out. Power dead. Jen swore she saw me leave after my shift. Security footage showed me walking into the freezer around 3:10 a.m. and never coming out. Corporate blamed camera desync issues. No one filed a report. The store stayed open. They hired replacements, and sometimes during overnights, a new guy swears he hears someone stalking seasonal. They'll hear walkies flip to Channel 4 by themselves. Hear my name, Alex, echo from somewhere near the back. Cold spots in H12 never go away, even in the middle of a Phoenix summer. A few months ago, a trainee quit mid-shift. Said he saw someone staring at him through a demo TV. Same face, same uniform, same tattoo. Now every time someone hears "Help Me" on Channel 4, they check the freezer. But they never find anyone. And the red shirt in my locker? Still there. Folded. Clean. Waiting. Because in this store you don't quit. You get absorbed. And I think I'm still on the clock. It's close to 10 p.m. and the air outside is thick and sticky, like wet wool pressed against your skin. Orlando in August doesn't do subtle. The Target parking lot is a mess. Broken carts scattered like abandoned relics, palm fronds and leaves, left over from last week's storm. I pull my sleeves down despite the heat. Hurricane season means every little thing feels heavier, the air charged like something's waiting to happen. I work at one of the Disney parks, mostly behind the scenes, and tonight I'm here with Jenny, my coworker. We only get to shop on nights like this. Our shifts end late and payday's still a few days away. Target's our fallback, even if this one feels half empty and tired. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, flickering in that Target store way, and the smell of stale pizza from the food court lingers faintly through the sliding doors. Jenny's already 3 aisles away, digging through canned goods. I'm standing in aisle 22 comparing shampoos. Damage repair, extra volume, color safe. My fingers tap the bottles, my mind drifting back to the summer heat outside. It's the only time I get to feel normal after a long shift. Holding a bottle, thinking about what I need, not who I have to be for the rest of the day. That's when I feel it, the breath. Hot too close on the back of my neck. Those damage repair ones don't work, a voice says, low and almost casual. I freeze. He's standing right behind me, too close. Wearing a Target red shirt but no name tag, like he's blending in, but not really part of the team. The shirt's soaked around the collar, sweat patches making it cling to his frame. His eyes dart between me and a security camera above, which is almost entirely blocked by a bright yellow sale banner. Convenient. I swallow hard, trying to keep calm. Jenny's nowhere nearby, just the hum of the store and the occasional beep of a scanner from the checkout lanes. "You look like my ex," he says, licking his cracked lips. My heart skips, but I don't say anything. I glance down the aisle. No exit, just shelves packed tight with hair products. He shifts to block my way. "Hey, what's your Insta?" he asks, voice low and sticky. I shake my head, trying to sidestep, but he moves faster, putting his arm against the shelf, blocking me in. "Don't be stuck up," he says, grabbing my phone while I'm mid-text to Jenny. I pull back, but his fingers press into my phone case, leaving damp fingerprints. The screen dims in my hand. Panic swells. From somewhere overhead, the intercom crackles. Security to aisle 22, but no footsteps come. My hand finds the travel-size hairspray bottle near the shampoos. Flammable. A warning label clear as day. "Last chance," I say, voice louder than I want. I'm bluffing, but I have to. My boyfriend's an off-duty cop in electronics. He blinks. His eyes dart toward the sporting goods aisle nearby. My words land like a splash of cold water, though. There's no boyfriend, just a desperate hope. That's when Jenny appears, practically marching down the aisle. Behind her, 5 Disney cast members still in costume. 3 princesses in glittering gowns, a very tall Goofy waving his big hands like a superhero. The man's grip loosens. He drops my phone. It hits the floor, screen cracking like a spiderweb. "Don't wait." I grab my phone and back away, heart pounding like I just ran a marathon. Target management called it an incident review, but nothing changed. Beige walls, a manager reading from a laminated script, questions about my role, about what provoked it. The words felt hollow. Mike, or whatever his name was, wasn't even an employee. No one saw the red-shirted man leave. No proof, no footage. The camera was blocked just like I thought. The police came, took my statement, said there was no crime because his hands were empty when they arrived. Like that erased everything. But I bought pepper spray from Sporting Goods with my employee. Discount the next day. I keep it in my purse now, unopened, a quiet shield. I changed how I shop too. I park closer to cameras. I use self-checkout. I never text alone in the store anymore. The scar on my phone screen is a reminder, not just of him, but of how close everything got. The next morning I clock in and see 3 missed calls from a blocked number. My phone buzzes in my pocket. The screen lights up and without saying a word I show my coworkers. They get it. No questions needed. It's not just about Target or that night. It's about feeling safe in places you should be safe. I'm still working at Disney, still trying to find balance between who I am and what I survived. Sometimes the small victories matter most. The hairspray bottle in my hand, the route I take through the parking lot, the friends who watch my back without ever saying it out loud. The heat is still suffocating outside, but in here, under these fluorescent lights, I'm standing taller, and that's enough. The buzz of fluorescent lights overhead was almost deafening, but it was the only constant in this late-night chaos. Black Friday had turned the Target store into a battlefield. Shelves stripped bare, carts left abandoned like casualties. I'm Jenna Lopez, 23, a cashier grinding through my second job trying to keep the bills paid for Mom's treatments. Tonight's shift feels endless, and every minute drags heavier than the last. I wiped down my register for the 3rd time, eyes on the clock when I caught sight of him, an old man standing motionless in aisle 7, the home decor section. His faded red shirt looked out of place, stained and threadbare. His cart was odd. A cracked vanity mirror balanced on top of a melted plastic toy, a half-burned ledger book, and a dusty pack of matches. He didn't move or blink, just stared straight ahead. "Can I help you find something?" I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. He didn't respond. Instead, he muttered under his breath, "The bill's due tonight." A chill crawled up my spine. When I blinked, he was gone, vanished like a ghost. I shook my head, telling myself it was exhaustion playing tricks. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. The store felt colder, darker somehow, like the hum of the lights was masking a deeper silence. I scanned the aisle again. No cart, no man, just me, and the long, uneasy night still ahead. Curiosity and something like fear pulled me toward the abandoned cart left behind. I reached down and picked up the cracked vanity mirror. The glass was sharp at the edges, but I couldn't look away. Instead of my reflection, I saw something else. A burned-out version of the Target, blackened walls and flickering emergency lights casting deep shadows. A shadowy figure pushed a cart slowly toward me, its outline blurred but unmistakably human. I yelped and dropped the mirror. It shattered on the cold tile floor. The store lights flickered violently, plunging the aisle into semi-darkness for a moment before buzzing back on. My heart pounded in my chest. I should have called for help, but my voice was stuck in my throat. My phone buzzed. I reached in my pocket and answered. It was Ryan, my only friend here, checking in from the stockroom. I told him about the old man, the cart, the mirror. He told me to shake it off, that I was probably just tired, but something didn't sit right. When I tried calling him back, his phone rang from somewhere in aisle 7. I froze. That was where the old man had been. I followed the sound of Ryan's phone, trying to ignore the sweat trickling down my back despite the store's stale AC. The ringing led me deeper into the dim aisle where the strange man had stood, but all I found was Ryan's phone lying face down on the floor, screen cracked. I bent down to grab it, the intercom suddenly crackling to life with a voice that wasn't the manager's. "You're on the clock. Time to pay." The words were a whisper, but sharp like ice against my skin. Panic clutched my chest. I called Ryan's name out loud, my voice echoing between the shelves, but only silence answered back. The memories rushed forward, the history I'd overheard from older employees, the Briarwood Mall fire, the janitor fired the day before the blaze, the rumors about his ghost haunting the place. I wiped my clammy hands on my pants and gripped my phone tighter. Something wasn't right here, and Ryan might already be trapped. I took out my phone and frantically searched Briarwood Mall fire 1991. The headlines stared back at me. 19 people died. Faulty wiring caused the fire, they said. But the story got darker when I read about Earl Vaughn, the janitor who was fired a day before for laziness, but had supposedly warned management about the wiring. His warnings ignored, his job taken, and his life lost in the flames. Locals whispered that his spirit haunted the land, demanding accountability. A man who couldn't rest because no one paid the price. I felt a cold breath on my neck and spun around. No one. Just the endless rows of shelves and the low hum of the store. But the air had turned freezing, my breath visible in the dim light. I grabbed the nearest fire extinguisher, heart thumping like a drum. I wasn't going to let Earl's ghost take Ryan, not tonight. I stepped cautiously into aisle 7, the air thick with cold and something that felt like regret. The lights flickered, and there he was, the old man in the faded red shirt gaunt, his eyes sunken and hollow. "You wear the red shirt. You pay the debt," he whispered, voice hollow as the void. The shelves trembled like they might collapse. I raised the extinguisher and swung. His form shattered into shards of glass and smoke. Just as I lowered the extinguisher, I heard Ryan's voice behind me. "Jenna, help me out here." I spun around, but the aisle had stretched impossibly long, the walls peeling into ash and shadows. The store was no longer Target. It was a trap, a cage made of fire and regret. I reached for Ryan's hand, but the darkness pulled us apart. The last thing I heard before everything went black was Earl's voice, chilling and final. "The bill's due." People think the worst part of working nights is staying awake. It's not. It's the cold that sinks into your bones, and the kind of quiet that makes you start imagining things. Every shift starts the same. I park my beat-up Honda, see my breath, cloud in the air, and brace for another 8 hours under fluorescent lights that buzz like they hate me personally. I took this gig collecting unpaid debts for a third-party agency after finishing a communications degree that got me exactly nowhere. The Target across from our office complex stays open 24/7, so on nights I finish early or just need a break. I walk across the street. It's sort of like therapy, but with fluorescent orange chips and self-checkout machines. I know the Super Target better than my own apartment. Aisle 7's light flickers so bad it could give someone a seizure. Housewares has a security guard named Rick, who naps behind the throw pillows every night. And there's a blind spot between men's socks and pet supplies where the cameras never reach. Don't ask how I know that. December in Winnipeg is brutal. The cold doesn't just bite, it gnaws. That night, December 18th, the wind chill had dropped past -30. I'd just gotten off a shift full of voicemails and hang-ups and a guy who called me a leech. I pulled into the lot like always, parked under the one working street lamp and crunched through the frozen slush toward the sliding doors. No music inside, no greeter. Just the soft hum of coolers and the too loud echo of my boots. It felt off, like walking into someone else's dream. I told myself it was nothing. I grabbed a basket and headed toward frozen foods, but I wasn't alone. Aisle 12 was colder than usual. I chalked it up to the busted freezers, they're always overdoing it. But as I reached for a pint of mint chocolate chip, I caught a reflection in the glass. Someone was crouching, just past the novelty waffles, dressed all in black, a ski. Mask or no, a balaclava covered their face. Not browsing, not even pretending to, just watching. I froze. My hand hovered over the freezer door as my heart climbed into my throat. I blinked hard, trying to make sense of it. Was it a prank? Some weird TikTok thing? Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. Did you forget me? My stomach twisted. I turned around quickly, but the aisle was empty now. No footsteps. No rustling. Just the cold settling over everything like a heavy blanket. I backtracked, clutching my phone, and fast-walked to customer service. "Leah!" I called out, but the girl behind the counter wasn't Leah. She was new, maybe younger than me, with tired eyes and a badge that said Chloe. There's someone, like a guy in a mask, back in Frozen. She barely blinked. "Tweakers, come through sometimes. They usually don't stick around." Chloe called for security over the radio. Static. Then, "No unauthorized persons on floor." I let her back, nerves humming. But when we got to aisle 12, it was empty. Not a smudge. On the floor. No lingering breath in the air. The only thing out of place was the feeling crawling up my spine. "He was right there," I insisted. She gave me a look, half sympathetic, half skeptical. I left without buying anything. That night, I parked closer to my building than usual. I triple-checked my locks. The message stayed on my phone, unread, but never deleted. A week passed. I convinced myself it was a fluke, some late-night druggie, nothing personal. I blocked the number, burned sage, got drunk one night and cried to a podcast about setting boundaries. But December 25th was coming fast. And when you work nights, holidays don't mean rest. They mean extra shifts. It was 2:41 a.m. when I walked into Super Target again, looking for an energy drink and maybe a reason to keep pushing forward. I'd spent most of the night on the phone with a guy who owed $8,000 in medical debt and accused me of being part of a conspiracy. Same cold, same empty store. I was in beverages, second fridge door open, when I heard it. Scree, each dot, a metal, groan, loud and out of place. I looked up. Across the store, near the loading dock, a security door was half lifted. Through the greasy little window beside it, I saw the figure again. Same mask, same posture. Like he was crouched to pounce. But this time he was holding something long and metal. A crowbar? And then, my phone vibrated. Another unknown number. Car looks cold." I dropped the monster. The can rolled under the shelves as my keys slipped from my hand. It was like my body stopped listening to my brain. I was suddenly 12 years old again, hiding from a drunk uncle in a dark hallway. I didn't go to customer service this time. I just ran. Out the front doors, into the lot, toward my freezing car. And then I heard footsteps. Crisp, close, crunching, ice just a few paces behind me. I fumbled with my keys. My fingers were too numb, slipping on the plastic fob as the wind screamed around me. My breath came out in ragged clouds. I could feel him, whoever he was, right there. The hood of my jacket was yanked backward. I spun. My keys swung wide, clipping something solid. He staggered slightly. The balaclava slipped just enough in the scuffle to reveal his face. Or part of it. A mole on his right cheek. Chipped front tooth. The faded scent of that awful cologne he used to wear. Some cheap bottle from a Christmas gift set I bought him 2 years ago. My ex. Danny. I swear it was him. But just as fast, the moment shattered. Headlights flashed across the lot. Tires screeched. The night manager's truck barreled toward us like salvation. Danny, or whoever it was, bolted between parked cars and vanished into the dark. The manager, Jeff, jumped out and shouted something, but I couldn't hear. My heart was pounding too, hard. My knees gave out and I sat in the snow like a dropped marionette. The police came, took my statement. I told them everything, gave them the messages, but Danny, he had an alibi. Photos, witness statements, even a video of him handing out socks at a shelter downtown. Said he hadn't been near a target in weeks. Probably. Some junkie who looks like him, one officer said, shrugging. "You said it was dark, right?" I quit my job the next morning, filed for a change of address, took out another student loan just to get away. It's been 3 months. I'm back living with my aunt in the suburbs now. Got a temp job sorting mail for a logistics company. Quiet, predictable, no night shifts, no creepy late runs to Target, and still, I don't sleep well. Every time I drive by a super Target, even in daylight, I check my backseat twice. Sometimes I think I see something in the rear view, a dark shape, a glimpse of a mask. But it's always just a shadow or a trick of the light. The police never followed up. Danny and I haven't spoken. His number's blocked. All my socials are gone now. Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn. But that didn't stop the ads from showing up. First camping gear, then security cameras. Last week, a sponsored post for black balaclavas. Same make, same design. There's this one thought I can't shake. What if it wasn't Danny? What if it was someone pretending to be him? Someone who knew what cologne he wore, knew what he looked like, knew everything about me, knew my schedule, my phone number, where I parked. Because here's the thing, I never told anyone about the blind spot in Target. Never posted about it. Never mentioned the cold car or my favorite flavor of ice cream or where I kept my spare key. And yet, he knew. So now I sleep with a bat beside my bed, and when the wind hits the windows just right, I swear I still hear the sliding doors open. Soft. Slow. Welcoming. Like they're expecting me back. I'd been pulling double shifts for weeks at Target. My life was circling the drain in slow motion, quiet, relentless. I was 20, no car, working at a 24-hour store in the outer suburbs of Brisbane. Not exactly the American dream, I know, but I was American once. Moved to Australia after high school with my mom. She left. I stayed. I owed 3 different buy now, pay later apps more than I even made last month. Missed payments stacked like bricks. My phone screen was cracked in 3 places, and my roommate ghosted me on rent, leaving me with a week to pay or lose the unit. Repo guys had taken my Corolla 2 nights before. I didn't even hear them, just walked out to an empty space and sighed like I knew it was coming. So I worked. And worked. Anything to numb the panic chewing through my chest. On January 15th, I picked up a graveyard shift. 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Management said they were short-staffed. Really, they just didn't want to hire full-time. No benefits. It was the kind of humid summer night where your shirt sticks to your back before you even clock in. The cicadas were going nuts outside. The air tasted like sweat and electric buzz. The shopping complex was practically abandoned. Just us, a shuttered Kmart, and a lonely servo a few blocks down. By 1:30 a.m., I was deep in the electronics section, zoning shelves like a zombie, trying not to think about rent or my dwindling bank balance. That's when I heard the front door chime. Motion sensor. Beeped like someone had come in, but the floor was dead empty, and I was supposed to be alone. At first I figured maybe the wind triggered the doors. Happens sometimes. The automatic ones are twitchy at night. I walked to the end of the aisle and looked across homewares. That's when I saw it, a figure, still too tall, just standing there like a mannequin someone forgot to dress. I grabbed my walkie. Anyone else on the floor? No answer. I tried again, louder. Just static. And then, a voice. Not from the walkie, not out loud, somewhere in between. Eli, Channel 3. I froze. The kind of cold that starts in your spine and leaks out into your limbs. Nobody was supposed to know my name. Channel 3 hadn't been used since last year. Management shut it down after some prankster kept hijacking frequencies, but my thumb flicked the dial anyway. I don't know why. Fear, curiosity, maybe both. Hello? I said into the walkie, voice tight. Nothing for a beat. Then, you left your locker open. The words made my stomach twist. I had left it open. I'd been rushing after clocking in. Inside my locker was an address slip from a package I never picked up. Full name, apartment, phone number, stupid. I moved fast. Back through menswear, past bedding, toward the customer service desk where the panic button was. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Not running. Strolling. Slow, confident, like whoever it was already knew where I was going. In appliances, a fridge display light flickered. A man in a high-vis vest, not red, not khakis, was leaning like he'd been waiting. He looked up when I passed, smiled. "You left your locker open." This time, he said it out loud. I didn't wait to hear anything else. I turned on my heel and ran for the staff hallway, shoes skidding on the slick vinyl floor. I reached the back door, where we clock in, where the smokers sneak out, where I knew there'd be a fire exit. Locked. I yanked harder. No budge. Behind me, the walkie crackled again. Wrong choice. I turned to see if he was following. Nothing. No one. But the air felt charged, like I'd stepped too close to an electric fence. I hit the emergency bar on the exit. The door slammed open and alarms screamed, high-pitched and metallic. Red lights flashed above me as I burst into the parking lot, gulping in the heavy night air like I'd been underwater. The lot was deserted. No security, no cars, except for one ute, idling at the edge of the lot, under a dead lamp. It had no plates. Its passenger door was open, not swinging, just open, like it had been waiting. I slowed for a second. Something primal in my brain told me, don't run to your left. That's where it was parked. I bolted toward the opposite end, weaving through stray carts and painted lines. I didn't look back. Not until I reached the loading dock ramp. When I turned, the ute was gone, no engine noise, no headlights. Just gone. I stood there shaking, waiting for something, security, police, anything, but nothing came. The alarms had stopped. The silence returned, thicker than before. I slipped back inside the fire exit. No sign of the guy. No voices on the walkie. Only the distant hum of fluorescent lights. And somewhere deep in the building, laughter. By the time the cops arrived, called by an automatic alarm trigger, I'd calmed down just enough to explain, but not enough to stop my hands from trembling. 2 officers walked the floor with me. We checked every aisle, every camera angle. I showed them the electronics section where it started, the staff door, appliances. There was nothing, no man, no ute, nothing weird in the footage either, except they lost signal on a few of the cameras for roughly 5 minutes, just in the areas I'd mentioned. The cops took a statement, but I could tell they weren't buying it. One of them asked if I'd been sleeping in the break room. The other just kept looking at me like I'd wasted their time. I didn't tell them about the voice knowing my name, or Channel 3. What would be the point? The next day, I got pulled into the manager's office. "We reviewed what happened," she said, not looking up from her computer. "You created a serious disturbance." I blinked. "You think I made it up?" Customers were upset. Emergency services were called. "There's a process, Eli. So I'm being punished for reporting something?" She leaned back, crossing her arms. "You're being suspended for violating emergency protocol. We'll reevaluate next week." That was it. No concern, no follow-up, no "how are you doing?" I left through the same staff door, this time unlocked in broad daylight. Still felt like someone was watching. I didn't sleep for 2 days. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw the high-vis vest, the open ute door, the flickering lights. I stopped going to Target. Couldn't even walk past the shopping complex. Just the buzz of fluorescent lighting was enough to make my hands sweat. I tried to get a shift at a cafe down the road. They weren't hiring. Rent was still due. My account balance read $12.44. Some nights, I still heard the voice. Not in my head. Through my busted phone speaker in static when I opened old voicemails. Channel 3. One time I found a folded high-vis vest outside my apartment door. Same kind. No note. No explanation. The landlord swore no one came up the stairs. The CCTV in our building malfunctioned. That vest is still in my closet. I can't bring myself to throw it away. Like if I touch it, I'll summon him again. I don't know if it was random, if I was unlucky, or if I was picked because I was alone, tired, broke. Easy. Sometimes I stare at my phone and wait for it to buzz. When it does, I don't answer. Don't want to know who's on the other end. But deep down, I already do. And every time I pass a walkie-talkie display in some discount shop, I wonder, what channel are they listening to now?